characters you think could have survived? Who do you think could have had some fabulous stories had they not been axed? Not including the obvious, i.e. Ronnie and Roxy, Pat. For me, Laura Beale, I think she had some great legs for the future storyline. She was essentially a victim of Ian's nastiness in that time period, but she was also a fighter and a very spiteful streak. Very spiteful streak, sorry, excuse me. I'd have loved to have seen more of that, especially where Bobby was involved. Bradley, I think it was definitely time to leave, but he was one of the characters I can see popping back from time to time. I always think it was a shame that Lacey Turner left only a couple of months after him. It would have been nice for them to have a happy ending, albeit even if briefly. Abby, she had potential to be a villain. She was one of the highlights of 2017 for me. We really saw that she was a product of her father. Cindy being axed off initially never really felt right. She was up for a attempted game ending someone, so it could have easily got 10 years. I would have taken her away for a fair amount of time if she did want to come back. Matthew Robinson was also thoroughly spiteful to the big actors who wanted to leave when he was executive producer, and his reasoning in not being able to have her sentencing without her on screen not working was ridiculous. Axing her off screen was even more of an anticlimax.
Yeah, no, I mean, some good names there. I mean, obviously, we don't. Annoyingly, the titles cut off all of the good angles. No Ronnie and Roxy, no Pat. There'll be a little small bit on Ronnie and Roxy and Pat, of course. Has to be done. Laura Beale, first, I thought they were just going to say, I thought she had some great legs. Next sentence. So that'll be a funny little, like, all right, someone's got a crush. Yeah, she did kind of get a pretty bum deal of it. She wasn't really there for that long, if I recall correctly. So she was there from 2000 to 2004. And she fell down the stairs. She fell down the stairs and died. Bradley, I like Bradley, and I think he could have been a good piece. He could have actually been a good piece. I do agree. I mean, Charlie Clement, the actor, he's not even an actor anymore. He's like a chef these days.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it was a bit of a shame. Bradley was. I'm going to sound like the Fat Boy Stan account. Bradley was loved. Bradley was actually a very enjoyed character. He kind of acted as the. He kind of held back the door for Max. He prevented Max from just becoming what Max became. And if Bradley was still around, Max probably wouldn't have been as ridiculous as he was. But it's just the simple fact that, they wanted to kill them off, and they proceeded to. I mean, a lot of the Brannins, I'd argue, were pretty ridiculously killed off for no real important reasons. Like, obviously, Derek Brannon, he was only going to do a year anyways, but I still like the idea of him around, just because you can keep that bit of the family alive. Obviously, Abby as well. Abby, I still say, even though Lauren at this point in time has become, like, much better and is proving why she probably is the right choice to have kept around, I still think that I don't know why they had to kill Abby. Like, I don't understand why, because Abby was way more interesting. Abby was so much better than Lauren in all ways. She was clearly the product of a broken home. She was absolutely mental. She would push the barriers. She would push the limits of how far you could go. And like that 2016, 2017 period for me, obviously kind of that 2015 up until her death, she carried it completely. And she went from this really innocent, sweet girl to when she grew up and look at who she became. This kind of, desperate to just claim what she wants. That weird, ridiculous, but both Stephen and Lucy, who were kind of the same but different. They were horrendously toxic for one another, but they should have been together in the end. Like, there's just a lot of I think the Brannings and the Beals are two sets of like families that have had so many like unceremonious deaths for no real reason. Like, even take Michael Moon, feels pretty rough to not have him around in any form. But yeah, like obviously Lucy, which the storyline was important and it needs to be told, but I respect it. Still, could have been a lot more potential there. Stephen, flipping off the camera. Stephen, I don't know why Stephen was killed off. I don't understand why. Stephen was a really interesting character, especially at the end. It was just kind of a really. He was, like I said, another product of a family that didn't really know how to love each other. You know, killed Jane's chances of having her own kid. But like, still such a crazy one. Obviously, the Cindy, she should never have been killed off in any form. I don't really understand why. It seems like the executive producer just went, "Fuck you, fuck you, you're dead now," in a video game. And obviously, I'm glad that we didn't get Cindy throughout the whole time because that would have been miserable. I would say Kathy, but Kathy was obviously brought back from the dead in the first place, so it doesn't really matter now. Yeah, that's a solid list. I think, like, obviously, yeah, and obviously you have Ronnie, Roxy, and Pat. Obviously, everybody wants to know what they would have been doing in this time period had they have survived, but obviously we didn't see that, so we don't know. But like, those characters you still build families around. They are important enough to have families around them. And it definitely would have helped kind of, because ever since the Mitchells have they've really lacked a lot of the spark that they had when Ronnie and Roxy were there, that they haven't really ever been able to reclaim, because if you bring back someone who's like Ronnie and Roxy, you're just copying them, but you can't bring them back because you don't want to bring back another person from the dead. So it's kind of that impossible scenario where you want to have a new Mitchell women, but you don't want to like feel like you're doing an imitation of like what could have been had Ronnie and Roxy not been killed off. And with Pat, of course, like, yeah, sure, we don't know how much longer she would have actually wanted to stay on the show, but she shouldn't have had the fucking opportunity snatched out of her hand. Like, at the end of the day, if there are certain characters where if they say, "I want to come back," you say, "Okay, yes." Like, you keep the characters who have been a servant to the show. Pat arrived in 86, and she was just unceremoniously binned off in about 3 months. Like, it's crazy to me. It is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I say that most executive producers don't really like to make the permanent changes, but some are way too trigger happy. Like, it's like, oh, this is really exciting. Oh, Pat, are we going to see you next year? No, you're dead now. See ya. What? What do you mean? A legend of the show. And like, at least she had the appearance in Peggy's death, which was important, but still, imagine if Pat could have actually have been there and supported Peggy. Like, I get it's it's a nice little detail, but it shouldn't have needed to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just tons of characters that shouldn't have been killed off that ultimately, like, I get it. You kind of want to discard the character. You don't feel like they're important, but just don't kill them off. Like, the potential is there. There are obviously characters that you do kill off and you could easily get away with. Kill off Dean, kill off Keanu, kill off Nish. All these characters, they don't need to survive their stints. They don't. Because the future isn't there for them. But like, for every like Keanu you kill off an actually big character who would have returned and would have been a big character to build around.
I will read some of the Reddit now, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Denny, I'll never understand it. Also Angie.
Yeah, solid. Both those answers. I mean, Denny, of course, by killing off Denny, you're killing off the grandson of Dirty Den Watts. Like, he is Sharon and Dennis Rickman's child. And obviously, I mean, Dennis Rickman as well, another character who left. He was only there for 2 years. Honestly, I understand that the BBC obviously want to distance themselves from the Watts because of what Leslie Grantham did and became. And due to the scandal and all the stuff that happened afterwards, read up if you want to know more. Obviously, they everybody who was kind of brought back or brought in for the Den Watts return storyline most of them left, and most of them decided it was time to go. Like, Den obviously was killed off. Chrissy left. Sam Mitchell left immediately. Zoe left. Sharon gone. Dennis gone. Vicky gone. Pretty much, maybe not everybody, but most of the people who were involved with it were immediately gone because they wanted to get rid of the stench as such. They wanted to get rid of you didn't want to be reminded of the like sex scandal because it makes the BBC look bad. But like they seem to just really hate the legacy because you then kill Dennis off, and this is Sharon finally finding a true love who doesn't hurt her and is genuine and pure and actually is, as many would argue, Sharon's true love. Without any doubt. And then he's only there for 2 years. But and it was only revealed like later on that obviously Nigel Harmon, the actor, went, yeah, I asked to be killed off. And it broke everybody's collective hearts. It broke everybody's hearts. Like, no, why would you do that? Because it's a lot more fun to hate the BBC than hate the actor for saying he wants to be killed off. Because he doesn't want to ask if he's ever going to come back. Just kind of crazy. And them killing off Denny. I mean, that version of Denny with the actor, I hated him. I hated him because he was a prick. he wasn't a child, but he was a prick. But killing off a major legacy child is mental.
On Denny, literally, if watching the Christmases back from 2016 till up to his death, literally every Christmas is my Denny this, Denny that, Denny wouldn't do this, Denny wouldn't do that. Like, grow up,
and
Sharon.
He would do all of those things. He would do absolutely every one of those things 10 times over.
But in my opinion, I think Denny would have been great in today's EastEnders. Like, imagine...
I would recast him, though, fully.
Oh, obviously. Like, you would have you recast him over the pandemic, being like, wow, you hair growth spurt. Whoa, holy crap, you have a beard. But, like, imagine Denny in the current storyline with Joel and Tommy, because then you'd have the grandson of Dirty Dan, the son of Cat Slater, and Vicky Fowler's somewhat son. Like, two grandsons of Den Watts, just fucking shit up with a moon. Like, I don't know why, I just would love it. But the only person that can really save and continue the legacy of Den Watts is if Vicky Fowler has some kids. I say had if she had some off screen.
They'd have to come out the woodworks.
Yeah, but because I personally think you should keep that legacy alive. Even if you don't reference Den, you don't have to reference Den. You could just be like, "Oh, you're the grandson of the Watts," and people be like,
you're just like your granddad. Oh, who's the granddad?
Because also just I know this is the survival thing, but also on the topic of Den, it's also the fact that you've kind of retconned his most famous saying, "Hello, princess," as they made I think his name's Gavin. Like,
yeah, they made Gavin Sullivan.
Yeah, they made Gavin Sullivan used to tell Sharon that all the time, so he told Den to say, and I'm like, grow up. I know. At that point it would have been about 10 years since the scandal, but I'm like, come on,
it's just I just don't understand why they like. I get it. You don't want to think about Den. He is an iconic character, but with all the stuff that came out later on, you don't really want to be associating Den with EastEnders. That's fine. You don't want to be associating Leslie Grantham. Don't want to do any of that. But you can't argue that he's not an important character.
Yeah,
like he is a very important character, one of the most memorable and prolific characters in EastEnders history. He is, and they really just wanted to fully distance themselves from it. And killing off Denny was a weird one, especially because they just went, "Hey, well, bye, Denny Watts. Hello, Albie." It's like, are you killing him off as the kid's born? Sharon was never supposed to have kids again. She was never supposed to have kids. That's why Denny was a fucking miracle. You can't just make a new fucking kid.
I'm just imagining it.
She couldn't have kids. That's the whole point. Now she has 2 that she wasn't supposed to have.
2? Oh, Denny.
Well, she had 2.
I'm just imagining you at the fucking in the fucking hospital as a doctor. How did you have this child? You weren't supposed to have it.
And it's like fucking geriatric Phil Mitchell, fucking super sperm over here, fucking having about 4 kids in like 5 years when in his 50s. Like, what's going on? In his 60s, what's going on? Stop? It's just
Someone
fucking
stop Phil
clumsy
from breathing.
writing, man. Like, why is this the direction you go? Fucking, I'm sick of it.
See, it won't happen because obviously she's never coming back. But I want Patsy Kennett's character, I think Emma Harden, to come back with a child.
If she has a kid, I'll fucking lose it.
Ash will shave his head if she comes back and has a child with Phil. But just to end this topic, yeah, it always buggles me how fucking in universe he is the fucking sperm of Captain America. Like, they put him in a chamber. Like, he's just loading them out. Like,
he's never shot blanks in his life.
Even on antidepressants, which he's currently on, he's never shot blanks. Let's be honest. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm still buckled by it. I'm still buckled. Just imagining you in the hospital. How did you have this child? How?
And it was also depressing as fuck because I swear to God, this could be made up, but I'm pretty sure she gave birth to Albie while she was saying goodbye to Denny, who was in a coffin. So, like, how fucked up is that? How fucked up is that? Horrendous. Fuck you. Tired. Just stop killing off important characters. I get that Denny was a bit of a shit kid, and I'm glad that the writing around Denny stopped because Sharon was insufferable. It's, my Denny. It's like, yeah, shut up. You know, just stop it. Just make it stop. But, like, and I didn't give a shit about the character. The character was cheeks. He was awful. But the potential, the future of the character could have been way more important than it was, than just a shock death that you needed for like the 30th? Yeah, that you need for the 5th anniversary. You could have killed off Bex, I'll be honest. You could have just killed off Bex instead and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Could have even killed off Bobby for fuck's sake, but yeah, just crazy.
Continuing on, the original poster, I forgot the shout out by the way. New Ferocious.
Nefarious Key
6309. Continuing on, yeah, they said that by the way. Yes, I knew I'd missed one, just pointless. Daniela, I was gutted when they killed her off. Wanted to see her and Ronnie having a lovely mom and daughter relationship, although that couldn't possibly happen in EastEnders.
Yeah, Danielle's death was one of the most heartbreaking moments that EastEnders has done. And it is kind of that, like, not secondary golden era, but that kind of, like, secret gold period where Ronnie and Roxy came in. You had Bradley, you had Stacey and Max. Like, that kind of little renaissance there from, like, 07 to, like, 2010 before the baby swap ruined everything. Where you have Archie Mitchell, then you have the big Who Killed Archies. Whoa, it was great. And then you have Ronnie finally understand that this little weedy blonde girl who's been following her around has been making, like loving eyes at her is actually her kid that she gave up all those years ago. And just at that last minute, Janine runs her down and she dies in her arms, and it's really good. And that could have explained away every single other one of Ronnie's traumatic actions. But no, they just made her fucking miserable non-stop for 10 more years and then decided to kill her off. But, like, they really missed the boat with it. Because, like, she could have been a character now. She could have had the legacy of Ronnie Mitchell. But no, Danielle died. So Ronnie could get trauma dumped on for 10 more years.
Yeah, and then it says, generally think it's the cruelest thing that they've ever done. Didn't help that the writers just continued to traumatize Ronnie for the next 7 years.
Yeah.
Someone says, Dennis Rickman, I know it was Nigel Aaron's decision to leave, but I would love to have seen him return with Sharon and have that family unit. So he does until he so desperately wanted to unite. He so desperately wanted, especially now with Zoe coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
Tiffany and
Oh, he
Bianca
did my
would
spiel on Dennis Rickman.
what? Tiffany and Bianca would have ruled the square as they got older.
Yeah.
But I assume this is the original Tiffany, not Tiffany.
Yeah. This
Alright.
is the Martine McCutcheon who died after being hit by Frank Butcher.
Michael Moon, if he was around today, that whole thing with Tommy abusing his family would never have happened. He respected Cat way too much to ever let that slide, and would have given his son a reality check. You also know he'd have had run-ins with other characters over the years, like Nish, Ravi, Dean, Stewart, and when Ronnie died, you just know he'd have some comment to Jack that would have led to him getting into a fight. And when Stacey came back and found out what Michael had done to Jean, she would have gone off.
Yeah, Michael Moon's always one of the mentions of the characters who should have survived, because admittedly the guy only spent like 2 years, but Michael Moon was verifiably insane. Like him and Janine were the perfect match, but also he was such I don't know, he was a little rat who would just do anything to fuck with you. So he would just do anything to fuck with you, and it was great because he was really smug and just an absolute knobhead. And just having that character, that kind of complex character around, and yeah, just all of the head-to-heads, like imagine Nish, fantastic. Dean, fantastic. Ravi, maybe you're pushing up Ravi's stock a little bit too high here. Stuart, wow, delicious. Just so much. He was a perfect like counter to a lot of characters.
Just to continue on. Someone says I was really upset when Paul died. Patrick never got over that one, and he would have been great for this new era, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean they tried to kind of rehash Paul with Isaac when they went, shit, we shouldn't have really killed off Patrick's kid or one of Patrick's kids. And yeah, I'm pretty sure the story of that was just the actor said, BBC, why are you making me, a minority, a fucking thug and a drug dealer? Like, maybe don't do that. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's a story.
Someone says Laura's face when she died used to give me nightmares when I was a kid. Literal nightmares, though. It was horrible. Okay, this comment has buckled me. The response to this comment has buckled me. Lucy, I'll never get over it. Such a tremendous mistake. And someone pipes in, should have been Peter. Lucy was obviously a much more interesting twin.
I wouldn't get rid of Who Killed Lucy. I wouldn't. It was a really big storyline. It captured the attention for the 30th anniversary, and it was the perfect storyline to lead it to the 30th anniversary. When a lot of people talk about the last time they watched EastEnders, they do genuinely talk about Who Killed Lucy. So I argue that it is important, but the killer makes it shitter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like Bobby being the one who hit Lucy in the end, and Jane covers it up, makes it a whole new layer of grey that you don't really know how to feel about it. I don't know who the perfect choice was, because it did pit a lot of these characters in a very bad light, but it had to be better than Bobby. And that's what kills the storyline, because it really was exciting to see this big whodunit and the aftermath, because at that point, the whodunits had kind of been downplayed for a while. Like the last obviously this could be bollocks, but the last whodunit before this was pretty much like Who Killed Archie. It'd been like a good 5 years or so since the last high-profile one. So it really was the right move to do at the time. But they just didn't plan it out properly and didn't know who was going to be the one to do it in the end. And that's what both hurts the Lucy storyline, because they had it so good for such a good period of time until they didn't know what to do. But I think the answer is Cindy Jr. I think it would have made more sense to have it be Cindy Jr. because of who Cindy is, and obviously not knowing that they were going to bring Cindy back really could have set the scene really excitingly for, instead of having Bobby have this confrontation, you have Cindy Jr., her daughter, who, took the other one out. Like, and obviously Cindy Jr.'s actress, Mimi Keene, probably not coming back. So You know, you could have easily made it a lot more neater. But I think, it's just I respect the desire for the whodunit, and the whodunit was big and important, and it was very integral. But the real answer was just to make it Cindy Jr.
Yeah. I don't have any more, so I'm just going to leave it there, if that's all right. And
Yeah.
we will see you in the next one. And let us know down below who you think should have survived the terrible axing. Let us know down below. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye.